Let's go to the other side of the Hill and bring in Nebraska Republican Senator Sen Fischer of the Senate Armed Services Committee. We'll discuss today's hearing as well as what we just heard from Chad. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Brett.
I want to play this soundbite, what the president told George Stephanopoulos and what you heard some of it today about the troop recommendations. Take a listen.
Your military advisors did not tell you, no, we should just keep 2,500 troops?
No, no one said that to me that I can recall.
Is that true?
I know the president to be an honest and forthright man.
Was that a false statement to the American people?
I'm not going to categorize a statement of a president of the United States.
You do not have a duty to cover for the president when he's not telling the truth. Was that a false statement or not?
I've given you my opinion on the matter. I've given you my judgment on it.
Senator, both of those generals, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and General McKenzie, said that they recommended 2,500 troops remaining on the ground in Afghanistan as they put it up the chain.
Right. You know, presidents are elected for reasons. They make strategic decisions. General Milley said that today. He also said that this was a strategic failure. President Biden disregarded the advice of his top generals. He knew what the risks were, he knew what the consequences would be, and he went ahead and made his own decision on this. You know, it's really a pattern we've seen with the president. Bob Gates made the observation in his book that Joe Biden in 40 years in the United States Senate was wrong on just about every serious foreign policy or national security decision. And he was wrong on this one. He should have listened to his generals. And he's been not honest with the American people on a number of things. One was the advice that he did receive. He wasn't honest about that. You heard that today. Another was his position that we can maintain the security of this country by not being in Afghanistan and keeping a force there with counterterrorism, and that was more my line of questioning.
Yeah. What do you say when Democrats push back and say it's the president's decision? They call this a bold decision, even if it was in the face of his military advisors at choosing something different, because we had to get out of this 20-year war and we had to get our troops home one way or another. How do you respond to that?
Well, I respond by saying we can disagree on if we should have ever been in Afghanistan. We can disagree on the withdrawal and setting a date on that. But the American people have seen how wrong his decision is. This isn't a bold decision. It's a wrong decision on how we withdrew our troops. I had a Nebraskan, Corporal Page, who was killed in Afghanistan. He was one of the 13. This is a wrong decision by this president, and instead of trying to gloss it over and make excuses and try to spin it at a press conference, you know, why can't we look at a way forward and make right decisions in the future?
Senator Wicker asked the chairman about credibility around the world. Take a listen to this answer.
Our credibility would be damaged. Our credibility has been gravely damaged, has it not, General Milley?
I think that our credibility with allies and partners around the world and with adversaries is being intensely reviewed by them to see which way this is going to go. And I think that damage is one word that could be used, yes.
Damage could be used. Senator, where do you think this is going in the eyes of our allies around the world?
Well, I was on a CODEL over in Eastern Europe, and I talked to some NATO allies. And what we heard was, yes, our credibility has been damaged. We're looking at allies who are questioning who we are, if we are firm in our commitments, if we're going to be there for them in the future. And I can tell you one question that I'm not hearing is from the jihadists, from the terrorists. They're not questioning this. They're inspired. They are out recruiting. And I think if you talk to anyone within the Department of Defense and in the State Department, if they're honest, they'll tell you that. Recruitment's up for the terrorists, and it puts our nation at risk.
There are some Democrats and others in the Finance Committee who believe that our credibility as a nation paying their bills is going to be affected. And you voted no to raise the debt ceiling this week, as did other Republicans. You voted that way before, we should point out, under the Trump administration. But are you worried that we're pushing the line here as far as the financial credibility?
We aren't pushing the line because the Democrats can do this on their own. You know they can do it on their own. They are right now talking about human infrastructure and a $3.5 trillion wish list for progressives. You know, if they can do that on their own, they can pay the bills on their own for it.
But isn't this a bipartisan thing? It's a bill that we've already paid. I mean, we've already used that money. This is money that Republicans authorized as well. Under the Trump administration, some $7.8 trillion of debt was added to the bottom line.
You know, if you look at what happened in March, Brett, that was a complete Democrat exercise, that $1.9 trillion. We're seeing it again right now. They are not reaching out in a bipartisan way. They are not reaching out to Republicans, even trying to work on some ideas here. I heard you say earlier about the Democrats want to have a transformational change here in our country. They want to do that. They should do it on their own then, and they should pay the bills. They should be honest about the costs that we're going to incur, that taxpayers are going to face. And this idea that it's free, or this idea that nobody who makes under $400,000 is going to pay taxes, look at what the stock market did today. People understand what's going on here. Nothing's free. Everybody's going to be taxed. You look at inflation going up. That's a tax on the middle class, and it is a tax on working Americans.
But, Senator, you concede that both parties, Republicans and Democrats, have been spending like drunken sailors for years up on Capitol Hill.
You know, I've said that before, too. And then we get hit with COVID.
Yeah.
And we work together in a bipartisan way trying to address that. And we did spend $6 trillion. But I think Republicans are saying, you know, we didn't need to do that $1.9 trillion in March, because let's go back and see where that other money has been spent on and look at what's still available and what programs work. That's the difference you're seeing between the two parties right now.
Last thing quickly, Senator. Senator Bernie Sanders has said to House members on the progressive side that if they vote on this bipartisan infrastructure bill Thursday, that they are losing all leverage. And he's saying, don't vote on that first. You need to get the big $3.5 trillion plan. Where do you sense this is right now as we kind of go minute to minute up there on the Hill?
Yeah, you know, it is minute to minute. We don't know where the Democrats are on this. They're going to have to figure that out themselves. But to change horses in midstream is, maybe it's not unusual in Washington, but when you're told one thing and then you see leadership with Nancy Pelosi in the House trying to maneuver that fine line between her moderates and the progressive wing of the party, you know, we're just, well, I'm just going to sit back and watch.
Senator Deb Fischer, we appreciate your time.
Thanks.